I recently popped into one of the classrooms at the school in which I work, and I found myself in a spontaneous Q&A session. And one of the students, kind of in a snarky way, asked me, how is it that God could call somebody to give up a wife and kids to have a family for their whole lives? How could God ask for celibacy from a priest? And obviously, priestly celibacy is something I think about on a daily basis. It's something that directly affects my life. But I think that student's question, the way it was presented to me, pointed to a deeper reality. It pointed to, I think, this thing in the church today, especially, and I think it's always been there, where we try to avoid the cross at any cost. Jesus tells us, unless you take up your cross and follow me, you have no part in me. So we try to avoid the cross at any cost. And when the cross comes to us, it's usually not in the way that we wanted it to come. And I think with discernment as well, I know from my own experience, there's definitely a sacrificial element to priestly celibacy. That cross of priestly celibacy, at times it feels like a cross. That was something that instilled fear in me at one point. It was something that hindered or definitely did not help my discernment to the priesthood. It was something I was troubled by, and I think that's something that's pretty normal and experienced by a lot of guys in one way or another. But the deeper reality is, if God's calling you to something, He gives you the grace you need to get through it and to do it and to become a saint through it. And God's ultimately calling all of us to become saints. I think the avoidance of the cross, whether it's with discernment to the priesthood, religious life, married life, generous single life, whatever it is, whatever God's calling you to, it's the way the cross comes to us in the least heavy way. Think about it like almost attacking a walled-in city in ancient times. When an army would attack a walled-in city, they would look for the weakest and most vulnerable point in the city walls. And they would attack it, and that would be the easiest way, that would be the path of least resistance, if you will. If we were trying to look for another place in the city walls to attack, it would just be that much more difficult to succeed in the attack. I think that's kind of what it's like when we try to run away from the cross with our own vocations. For a priest, I think about the men who've been in the priesthood, who've been priests for 50, 60 years, whatever. Old, joyful priests who I'm sure have fallen in love many times, but they remain faithful. They remain faithful. And that joy and the weight that their presence commands because of their fidelity to their vocation is tremendous. And you want to talk about a prime vocation poster, or a good recruiting tool, for lack of a better word. Look at a joyful old priest who's been faithful. There's nothing more amazing than that, in my opinion. Or look at an awesome married couple who've been together for years. They experience difficulties. I think about parents who've been married together and they've had children with special needs. And they embraced the cross of that and the difficulty of that. And definitely was not an easy journey for them. But how powerful their love is after the sacrifice that entailed, and how God sanctified them through loving in a difficult way. It's amazing. God's calling them to heaven in that particular way. He's calling them and making them saints in that particular way. So whatever it is, and whatever the Lord has providentially in store for us, it's probably good we don't know what's going to happen to us. Otherwise we run away in crazy fear. But God trusts that we're able to deal with it, and He gives us the grace we need to deal with it. And through it all, He uses the circumstances to bring about a change in us as well. So whenever we encounter the cross, to pray for the grace to embrace it, to endure it, and to be faithful in the midst of it. Let me know what you think below. Maybe there's some crosses in your life right now. Don't feel like you have to comment about that personally on the internet, but like the video if you like it, subscribe to my videos if you want to hear more, and God bless you.